Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. We are here for our 227th episode of the Talk That Talk Show. And behind the scenes, just want to let you guys know we have some great things on the horizon. Definitely been in contact with some people, so hopefully in the future we're going to have some guests here on the show. But realistically, we've just been trying to grind and keep this show fun and exciting, and no shortage of content. But I think the fact that everybody that continues to tune in each and every week, it just means all the world to me. Big shout out to Sean Peck. We had a real good battle with him this past Thursday, which we'll get on a little bit later on the show. But also big shout out to Stan Gutowski, Rob Brantley Jr., Ishabod Crane, Justin DeCristofo. Got a lot of good people out there listening in and tuning in each and every week. And it's great because, what I've kind of seen is that my effect, or the type of relationships that I've built with people substantially have come from bowling. And I've really enjoyed meeting different people and just kind of growing with the sport and growing with my love for the sport as well too. And I always say I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage for a lot of people because that bowls, because a lot of times people have bowled in high school. A lot of your elite bowlers, they have bowled in college and they have this experience. But, one of the things that I was talking to Sam a little bit about was the fact of how he was struggling with his confidence a little bit. And I told him straight up that, I am in no way, shape, or form as good as half of the bowlers that I bowl with. I think that a lot of people have way more experience than me, and they have way more talent than me. But one thing that you can't take away is heart. And I think that what I was trying to get Sam to understand is that you have to have such a self-belief in yourself that maybe sometimes you may think that you're a little outlandish, but you have to truly believe that you can go into battle and beat these guys. One of the things that I love about Lenny and Pops is they don't care who they're lined up against. They were going to try and kick your dick in, and I think that that ability to not be scared or not have the moment be too big, it all just comes from confidence. And I think that the last week and my first week from coming back from the hand injury, my mental was there, going through the motions of bowling was there, but I didn't see the scores that I wanted because I felt like, it took a little bit of time to get that confidence back. And, in this second week of coming back, I wound up having my best week since coming back, where I shot 738, 630, 628, and then finished up at Majestic with a 582. So, a pretty decent week of bowling, but I was really excited about that 738 because, coming back, the same thing Sam had talked about was struggling with getting the confidence, proving to myself and also proving to the people around me that have waited for me to come back that it was worth the wait. I think that, having success with our teams, both on Wednesday and Thursday night, and then also climbing the ladder with my brother on Tuesday, where, for the first 3 or 4 weeks, we struggled, partly in due to, me not being there. But it's almost like a new challenge for us to try and come all the way from the bottom on Tuesday and come up. And we got our first win of the season on Tuesday, and it was a great feeling. And it was like, the start of a bunch of great things for us in this Tuesday season. But then on Wednesday and Thursday, to see the depth of our team and to see teammates stepping up for each other, picking each other up, that's what team sports is all about. And, I truly, in this season, I've enjoyed bowling with the people, whether it be with my family team on Thursday, whether it be bowling with Angie and Lenny and Pops on Wednesday. I just feel like the people that I've surrounded myself to compete with has been great. And then also big shout out to Travis Ola who invited me to his X League team, and I got a chance to bowl X League, and I feel like anybody can strike. Anybody can go out there, go on the lanes, and get a little lucky. But I think it speaks to not only you as a bowler, but it speaks to the people that choose to bowl with you. That speaks to your character, man. There's a lot of people that can strike that I wouldn't bowl with a day in my life, So, I just thank everyone that continues to believe in me in this bowling process. And this whole week leads to my first appearance in UBA this season, and my teammates having the faith in me to go out there and represent in the toughest division in UBA. I made jokes with my boy Reese because I showed them a video, and it's so funny because people that aren't in bowling culture, if they don't understand what we deal with on a weekly basis at those UBA tour stops, it's kind of unimaginable, unfathomable, right? But on one of the UBA posts, they showed one of our just regular matches where a guy screaming, I think Idris was screaming in the guy Key's face, Murder Inc. versus Exit Wounds. If you know, you know. It's a big-time matchup. But for those people that actually don't know, and when you have people screaming in your face like this, that pressure to get a strike or that pressure to get a spare, it can weigh on you, man. So I think that, again, alluding to what Sam had spoke about trying to get that confidence back. I remember, and I think back to my last UBA appearance last season, and I didn't put out my best effort at all. I remember being a little bit lost in the sauce out there and just upset with not being able to perform. But I think that not forgetting that experience, but at the same time not holding that experience to what will happen in the future. I think if you don't have a little bit of nerves with something, then it doesn't in a way mean you don't care. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you have those nerves, it means that you do care about what you want to have your best foot forward. And to say that I don't have a little bit of nerves, I'd be lying to you. But I think, again, it's a matter, and like I said to Sam, it's okay for us to have those nerves, to be hard on ourselves, to want the best for ourselves, but it can't take away from our mental, and it can't be detrimental to our mental game or to our physical health. So, at the end of the day, you want to keep that confidence high. I have a big-time matchup tomorrow morning. I'm excited to wear those DIY colors and fly the flag and just go out there and compete. Not put any extra pressure on myself. Just be excited to go out there and compete with my teammates and hopefully shock the world, man. We got a good team that we're facing in Dead Flush. I always like to respect our opponents within that division because it's obviously the toughest division in UBA, and that's what it's all about. Going out there and proving people wrong and proving yourself wrong. And I think, like I said on Monday, proving to myself that I could shoot 738, and proving to all my teammates that I bowl with throughout the week, I can do this shit. And all the faith that you guys have had in me and the patience that you've had to allow me to get reps, whether you've allowed me to sub, whether you've come support me while I've been bowling. You guys are all the reason why I've been able to shoot the way I am and why I will have success tomorrow. We have Timmy Hugel says the jersey had a lot to do with that 700. Just saying, yes, I was in my staff jersey. Big shout out to Ink Parlor Sublimation. Tim really got on me for not giving them the shout outs, but honestly, I feel good. Almost like I said about Deion Sanders, man, look good, feel good, play good, man. And he gives us some of the best jerseys, the creative freedom to put anything we want on. So I love him. Tim Hugel, big time shout out to you at Ink Parlor. You're right, couldn't have shot that 700 without y'all. And also we have Robert Brantley Jr. here, who says I gotta go for that cruiserweight belt or that welterweight division. Hopefully at the next Battle Bowl, be able to put my hat in there. And it's people like you, Rob, that go out there and compete that inspire me to think that I can do it. But moving on past bowling, I think something that's huge, you know how over these past couple episodes, I've really tried to highlight the WNBA and shed some light to the importance of women's sports. And what I've really seen is today in the media, you might not have seen this, but I think it's a huge step in the right direction for the WNBA because the Golden State Warriors had just released that they will be having a WNBA team expansion team coming to the league, and they're going to be joining in 2025, which will be not next season, but the following season. I think this is huge because if you look at the NBA, they have about 32 teams, and the WNBA has less than a fraction of that with, I think, 12 teams right now. So with them expanding to 13, obviously it gives them the odd number. So this kind of leads me to believe that another team is kind of in the behind the scenes waiting to give an expansion team. So I think that with the Bay Area, it's a place that loves basketball, and when you look at trying to expand women's sports, you have to look at these locations that truly love basketball. I think that another great expansion team, someplace that loves basketball, I think would be Boston. I'm really surprised that they don't have their own WNBA team. I think that would be a great location because what we saw before in the earlier stages of the WNBA, and I looked this up at TK's house one time, but the WNBA started out with every NBA, well, not every NBA team, but every WNBA team was affiliated with an NBA team. And what we saw is, as teams started to fold, you started to get independent owners outside of the NBA that took over these WNBA franchises. But if you think about expansion and you think about potentially adding more teams to the WNBA, you kind of have to go with the model of what worked before. And if we can somehow maybe get some incentives for these NBA teams to put their team or put themselves in the pool to maybe add to an expansion team, I think that as the WNBA starts to expand, you'll start to see more and more people watch the NCAA college women's because with the LSU Iowa game between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, that was one of the most televised and most watched women's sporting events in collegiate history. And I think that when you talk about the NBA, a lot of us, I know me, I love watching college basketball to see what the next hip person that's going to be in the NBA will be. And I think that if we can follow that same trend with the WNBA and get some of these NBA franchises to get along and get on board, then you'll start to see more watching of the women's sports in the collegiate aspect, and that'll filter into those players wanting to go into the WNBA. Because what people don't realize is the WNBA is competing with overseas. The whole reason why Brittany Griner got arrested was because she was playing overseas in Germany because they were paying her more money, right? So as we start to see the notoriety grow from jersey sales, sponsorship deals. I mean, I can't remember when I was a kid watching a WNBA commercial, but I know the beat to this new one. I'm sure if you guys have all watched sports, you'll know what WNBA commercial I'm talking about because girls is players too, right? So, again, I think that the WNBA is moving in the right direction, and I thought it was very important to highlight this expansion with the Bay Area in 2025 because this is going to be the precursor to what we are going to see with the WNBA moving forward. And then, also, as I'm excited about something, on the opposite end, I'm getting real tired of one thing. And I have to say, as a Chiefs fan, I'm getting tired of this Taylor Swift stuff, man. I mean, it was so much to the point where I could not wear my favorite player's jersey, Travis Kelce, because I did not want to be confused with a Swiftie, right? And again, I understand what players do in their personal life, and somebody with the iconic status as a Taylor Swift is going to bring on a lot of things. I mean, the NFL has already agreed to make commercials for her upcoming movie for free. So this is huge in terms of pop culture. But what is kind of sad is that we're starting to lose sight of the football, right? Instead of those commentating and some of those shots that we see of the crowd that give us that feel, you're getting a lot of shots of Taylor Swift that we already know is there, right? Even so much, and I had to put this on, and I had to put this in the notes because I thought this was hilarious. We talked last week about how betting has kind of entered into that, mainstream culture, right? And now you talk about Travis Kelce, who's in the limelight or in mainstream culture because of his relationship with Taylor Swift, right? It has trickled so much to now the sports books had a specific bet, a Travis Kelce Taylor Swift bet, where it was called the friend zone bet. And you could bet plus 200 odds for Travis Kelce to get friend zoned, which means he didn't score a touchdown. If that doesn't bleed into culture, I don't know what does, man. I mean, just the fact that, Travis Kelce has his own line called the friend zone line because he doesn't get into the end zone realistically and maybe metaphorically, I don't know. But if you saw Taylor Swift's knees on that one picture, I think he did hit his touchdown. But at the end of the day, all I'll say is this. I'm tired of seeing Taylor Swift all over everywhere, okay? I love, Travis Kelce. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. I love winning, right? I love that tradition of winning that we've established with Andy Reid. And I feel like the focus of the repeat that we haven't been able to do and that we're kind of trying to seek is kind of getting taken away from Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift. Will he get in the touchdown for the love of his life? I mean, I'm going to barf at this point. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, all I know is the Chiefs are looking good. Travis Kelce, he's got a little extra motivation to score some touchdowns. And if that will help us positively, then Taylor Swift, do your thing outside of the lines, okay? Keep it up. But, I'm getting tired of seeing her everywhere at a Chiefs game where I'm just trying to watch the game and enjoy. That's it. But I think that before we hit the NFL, I think it's very important that we talk about the MLB postseason, which is kind of, in a way, does it feel a little forgotten to you guys? I mean, did you even know that the first round wild card playoffs have already finished, right? I think partly that is because all of the games were sweeps. I think that was the first time that happened since 1992. I don't know if that kind of detracted from the excitement of playoff baseball, but playoff baseball, October baseball, is one of the most exciting times in sports. So I want to definitely touch on this a little bit and give some highlights as to the four matchups that we have to choose from, right? So, Texas and Baltimore. Like Ish said, the playoffs have quietly started, and quietly the Baltimore Orioles have gotten themselves a first-round bye. This matchup to me is the most dangerous in the AL because what we have here is two differing, realities, right? Texas Rangers, a great team, but right now they're really hot. They've been playing really well. Pitching is really phenomenal. I know they lost, I think, Max Scherzer for the year, but outside of Max Scherzer, they still got some studs over there, right? And on the other side, we have Baltimore, who's just got it done all season. I think they got to 100 wins this season. Just a team that, is small ball you to death, but still has home run power. But they've kind of been sitting for a little bit, waiting, for the eventual winner. And what we saw last year was that kind of had an effect from some of those first-round bye winners, that when they came off, that the wild card team winner had a little bit of an advantage because they were already hot and they were already playing. So I think this is a dangerous matchup because my heart wants to go with Baltimore, but I think, in the back of my mind, I just feel like Baltimore, in a way, is kind of happy to be here. And I just don't think that they come out of this matchup. I think that this will be my upset. I think that the Texas Rangers will upset the Baltimore Orioles, but I'm not happy about it because I want to see the Orioles succeed. All my life, I've seen the Orioles do nothing but be the laughingstock. I mean, I watched Cal Ripken Jr. almost waste his entire career because he didn't really have much success in Baltimore, right? So I, out of anybody, would love to see Baltimore do well. But I think that they have history against them. And what we've seen in baseball is it took the Cubs over 100 years to beat history. And I just don't think that they beat history here, Baltimore. The next matchup that I have here, Minnesota against Houston. Another tough matchup, man. I think Minnesota has been streaking. A lot of people said Carlos Correa was done, finished, and he was able to get this team to the playoffs. Had one of the biggest, clutchest moments of the postseason so far when he tags out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in scoring position, right? But like Ishabad says, the Twins are getting bodied. I'm sorry. Because a lot of people like the Astros. And again, we have to talk about history. And in baseball, history is one of the toughest things to beat. If you don't know about that, ask the Boston Red Sox about the curse, right? And how long it took them to break that. So again, the Houston Astros, to me, on paper, are the biggest team that top to bottom can beat you offensively. And defensively, they don't make mistakes to hurt themselves. So, I have to take Houston, but I don't think that this will be a sweep, right? It says Houston's pitching is great, and you know what they do with the bats, 100%. As much as we don't want to see it, I think that the Houston Astros will be in the ALCS yet again. And it's just a matter of, will it be Baltimore, will it be Texas? But you've heard me, I think it's still going to be Texas Rangers. But then on the other side, the NL side, this is where I think the World Series champion will come from. I think it will come from the NL side. And I think that this matchup right here is similar to, and almost runs parallel to that Texas-Baltimore series where we have the Philadelphia Phillies going up against the Atlanta Braves. All year long, we had the joke, Atlanta Braves 1.5, easiest line to play all year. You remember that when they were bodying teams every single day? I mean, it seems so far away from that, right? And now what it seems like is the Philadelphia Phillies are really good. Oof. And trust me, I hate to say that as a Mets fan. Yes. I will always forever say, fuck the Phillies. But hey, I'm a realist. And the Philadelphia Phillies with the pitching that they have, with the hitting, with a Bryce Harper who ran through a stop sign. I mean, that was effort, heart, and everything that you want.
He was chugging.
I mean, come on. I think he flipped his bat helmet as he was about to round third base because he knew he was going for it, right? So, I think the way that the Phillies have played, I think the fact that they went last year and did not achieve what they wanted, right? I think that gives them that inside edge to where, I don't know, the Braves, I know they have the best offense in baseball, but is it unreasonable to believe that the Phillies have a comparable offense right now? I mean, they put up 7 runs in those 2 games against Miami, So again, I really, really think this is a dangerous matchup, and I honestly think it's going to be a toss-up. Don't be surprised if that Braves-Phillies game goes to extra innings. I promise you that. And I don't know if it's still, when we go to postseason, somebody fact-check me. I don't think that they have the runner on second base during the postseason. So we go back to the old school rules, and you got to grind it out. So, it's going to be a tough matchup. But if you ask me, I'm going to go with the hotter team. I know that one of these 2 matchups, the underdog will not, advance. But, I mean, I got to go with Philly, man. Baseball is a game of streaks, right? It's a game of streaks. And right now, you would be a fool to count out the Philadelphia Phillies with the way that they have been playing baseball.
It doesn't apply.
It does not apply? Okay, thank you. So, yes, we are going back to the original baseball rules in extra innings. Mm-hmm. So, again, now you got to really think about in the extra innings, how am I going to try and manufacture runs? And all year, the Atlanta Braves have, relied on that long ball. Yes, I know Acuna stole 70 bases, but if this comes down to a small ball challenge where you need somebody to get some runs and manufacture runs in some extra innings, I mean, I don't know that we can't go with the Phillies, man. So this is gonna be a great postseason. You guys better gear up this weekend because we're in for some great games, and we still have one more on the slate. The Dodgers against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Guys, this series will be close, but I still think that it's going to be a sweep for the Dodgers, man. The Dodgers are elite. I think this is like the third straight year they've won over 100 games. Again, when it comes down to it, yes, the Diamondbacks played well against the Brewers. They scored runs. But like Ish knows, because I know the Arizona Diamondbacks, it cost him a good bit of money this year. They're so hot and cold. They're like the one girl that says that she loves you, but she doesn't really love you. She just wants to hang around with you for a little bit. That's how I feel like the Arizona Diamondbacks are, right? They want to love us. They want the world to love them and to say, hey, believe in the Diamondbacks. But our mind, and you got to trust your eyes here. And what I see is that any team with Mookie Betts in the postseason has a dangerous chance of winning, especially when you got Max Muncy, especially when you got a Freddie Freeman. I mean, come on, man. That Dodgers team is crazy, bro. It boggles my mind how each and every year they can have one of the highest payrolls, put out an incredible team, and the Mets have a higher payroll and they can't do the same thing. We need to get one of those people from the Dodgers organization and just give us something. Give us a footnote. Give us some sort of snack or something to let us know how to get this process, because the Dodgers year in and year out are competitive and divisional champs. So Arizona, yes, they may be pretty. They may have the leggings on, right? They may look a little appealing. But trust me, when those leggings come off, it's a little bit disgusting. And that's where I think the Dodgers are going to come and take the series. I'm telling you, if you want to put a bet in, I'm telling you, put a Dodgers sweep. I think that might be the easiest lock out of all four of these series. And then finally, before we get on to the NFL, I think it does take a little bit of highlighting here to say that Joel Embiid decided to play for the USA in the Olympics. And the reason why I talk about this, because trust me, I am not a Joel Embiid fan, to say the least. But what I will say is this. By him choosing to play for the USA in the Olympics, I think this shows us all how serious these NBA players are for this Paris Olympic run. I think that you're going to start to see other players that we are big name guys that will join and say that they want their hat. I think when LeBron came out and said straight up that he wants to lead this rush of people to play in Paris in 2024, I think that was huge. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at that, I think it was like the USA FIBA team or something that they just put out, that team was garbage. I mean, trust me, I love Jalen Brunson to death, but if you give me an Olympic team, he's not going to be my first Olympic point guard. All right? So I will say this. We do have great players in the USA, but what we've been saying for the longest is that the world has shortened the gap between the USA and other countries. And because that gap is shortening, You have to put out these star players. And trust me, we all remember what happened to Paul George. And there is a huge injury risk that comes to playing in the Olympics. But what is the highest stage? I think that we're forgetting about, the NBA is definitely the best league. But the Olympics is the highest stage of basketball. And if you can have Olympic success, you etch your name in forever. Not just in the NBA, but in the world forever. And then finally, I think that in this NFL, we have four games highlighted that I wanted to give you guys my picks for, because I think these are going to be the four best entertaining games to watch and that you should look out for this week in the NFL. Philadelphia against the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Eagles-Rams, this is going to be upset city. I think the Eagles have looked good, but I think that they have had a little bit of holes. They've looked a little vulnerable. Almost like the Chiefs. The Chiefs have looked good, but we've looked a little vulnerable. And I think that with the way that the Rams are playing, potentially a Cooper Kupp return, we don't know. But Cooper Kupp might come back and be the second receiver. Because they have some players in Los Angeles. And Matthew Stafford is playing some of the best football. If he is available on your waiver wire, you better go pick up Matt Stafford. That's the only free nugget I'm going to give you. Pause. All right? The next matchup, Dallas versus the 49ers. Ooh. That is going to be a hell of a game. I'm going to try and make sure Doc stays up for that one. The Cowboys and the 49ers. Two very dangerous offenses. But in my opinion, the 49ers, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, ain't nobody besides the Chiefs beating that team. Because they are going to put up points, and they can suffocate you on defense. Until I see a team that can go out there and outscore the 49ers, it can stop the run, that can stop Christian McCaffrey, it's going to be tough to beat, man. And you think with them keep winning, they're going to get themselves home field advantage. And you think about, coming down to the wire in playoff time, you want to go into San Francisco and try and win a playoff game? Woo! That's going to be tough, man. So, as much as I think Dallas is dangerous, give me the 49ers, man. And I'll take the points. All right? Houston versus the Atlanta Falcons, baby. This is going to be a big one, man. I'm telling you. The Houston Texans, a lot of people are starting to invest stock into C.J. Stroud, man. That boy is tough. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. He's got the Texans playing much better. I think they're on a little bit of a win streak here. And then on the opposite end, you have the Atlanta Falcons, who are still searching for an identity. Still wondering if Desmond Ridder is the answer. Excuse me. I know Jeff has not been happy with Desmond Ridder. But the Falcons are just, oh, man. They're just that team that looks great. You want to bring them home, but you just don't know if you want to yet. There's still some red flags there. There's a little bit of apprehension, right? I think that the Falcons, they're dangerous, but they're a team that I am not willing to put my money on. So, unfortunately, as much as Jeff's not going to want to hear it, I got the Texans, bro. I think that the NFL is just as much as a streaky sport as it is the MLB. And the Texans look more dangerous to me than the Falcons. The Falcons look, like they're still trying to find themselves. And they better find themselves quick, because if not, that division is going to fall to the Saints maybe, man. Or the Bucks, because the Bucks look pretty good too. And then finally, a game that I don't think any of us had really highlighted, but I think it has a lot of value. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 1-3 teams. Which direction do they choose to go? More than likely, one of those teams that loses, right, either the Cardinals or the Bengals, whoever loses that game, they can kiss their playoff hopes goodbye. Because we already know what the percentages is starting off 0-2, 1-3 of making the playoffs. If you start 1-4, it is going to be extremely difficult for either team to advance. I mean, look at Cincinnati. They got Baltimore in that division, and Baltimore don't look like they're slowing down for nobody, right? And I know the Steelers have been playing a little bit better. I know that, and then the Browns, they have their issues, but I don't know if they're real contenders. But what I want to say is that the Cincinnati Bengals, with the Ravens up top there, they need this win. Arizona, even though they're in a 1-3 position, they win a game. If they can win a game here and prove that Joshua Dobbs actually is a good quarterback, you could potentially be talking about this team as maybe a wild card team. I know it sounds crazy because Kyler Murray was out and they don't even have him. But if you look at what the Arizona Cardinals are able to do that we did not think, they can score the football and they can drive it down the field. Their defense is okay. Not great, but it's okay. It's serviceable. But if Joshua Dobbs is doing what he's supposed to do, leading that team, not making mistakes, I can see Arizona winning this game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are in trouble. I think that they're not as dangerous as they look. I think Jamar Chase is visibly frustrated because he can't be a game changer because he's not getting the rock. T. Higgins, he's been dealing with injury. Is he okay? I don't know, man. There's a lot of questionables with this Cincinnati game. And I have this game circled because if Cincinnati loses this game, you can kiss them goodbye. And we're going to be really talking about, is Joe Burrow worth that bread? And then lastly, before I hop off the air here, I want to give some highlight here. And I got to highlight the Colorado Buffaloes because they've been getting a lot of slack here because they got whomped by Oregon. They played well against USC. I mean, they were getting smacked, but they showed heart, fortitude to come back. And I heard somebody asking, they said the hype train is dead for Colorado. I couldn't disagree anymore because what we see now is that Colorado is still being highlighted on major games, is getting primetime slots. They're still getting profit boosts on sports books, even though it's Colorado, right? They lost 2 back-to-back ranked games. But I think that a lot of people, when they beat TCU, won against Colorado State the way they did, I think a lot of people got the wide eyes of, wow, Colorado is for real. This team could be a national contender. But what I think we saw in these 2 games is the visible void that Coach Prime had to endure when he made such a tremendous turnover. I think he said he turned over around 70 players, right? And you can't get it all right. What he did was he got great skill position players. Colorado showed us they can score with anybody. If that offense is on, they can score with anybody. But the problem lies is they can't get any pressure on the quarterback. They can't. Shedeur has to be throwing the ball quickly. Can you imagine if he had Texas's offensive line? Shedeur Sanders would have been a shoe-in Caleb Williams, right? So I don't want to say that the hype train is over for Colorado, but what I will say is this. Colorado has far exceeded the expectations that anybody had for those Buffaloes. And I think that this year and what they continue to do to end the year will help to bring in those big-time offensive linemen that you see at Alabama, that you see at these big SEC schools. They need to find a way to get those players over to Colorado so those skill position players can do what they do best. And that's what these remaining games of the Colorado schedule will be. It's not about for this season. Yes, it is for the seniors, and those players of that class that are at Colorado. But in my opinion, these remaining games on Colorado's schedule is for that recruiting class next year that they want to make them big-time contenders so that when they go against Oregon, it is not getting shellacked at home, right? So I don't believe that the hype train for Colorado has ended. It's just beginning, guys. And on that note, I am out of here. This is the Talk That Talk Show.
Talk that talk!
227 episodes in the books. My unfiltered thoughts. I thank you guys so much for rocking out with me each and every week, man. This is the whole point of the podcast, to try and give you guys different perspectives on different things that are happening, both in sports and in my life, man. So I'm going to continue to putting out this podcast, trying to search for things that, excite me, that hopefully will entertain you guys in watching this podcast. Big time shout again to Timmy Hugel over at Ink Parlor, and making me staff over there. The website will be launching soon, and soon enough, people will be able to purchase their own Talk That Talk Show jersey straight off the website. All right, so that is going to be huge and major. One big time step for us, both with Tim at Ink Parlor Sublimation, and then for me as well with Talk That Talk Show. Guys, I cannot tell you how hard it is to start your own brand. But to look back, and I can look in those bowling alleys, and I can count at least 4 to 5 people anywhere, whether I'm at Lodi, whether I'm at Jersey Lanes, whether I'm at Bolera, whether I'm at Majestic. I do not strike as much as these people, guys. I am not a 240, 250 average. I'm trying to get better, and I love bowling. But when it comes down to building a brand and how I've been able to get myself into the bowling alleys and into all these other communities, it hasn't been because of just my bowling game, right? It's because of people like you, like Admiral, like Jeff, like TK, like Uncle Mickey, like who else do we have here? Like Marty Rock. People that continue to tune into this episode and that truly, represent Talk That Talk Show. I can't tell you, so like someone like Lenny, who makes his own team in bowling and says, hey, I want to put your Talk That Talk Show logo on my jersey. That is, it means the world to me, man, that people see this brand and embrace it and wear it with a badge of honor. So all I can do is for all of you guys that truly embrace this brand and it means something to you, I'm going to continue to do this podcast and work to make this the most high quality possible so that it continues to mean something to you. I love you all, and I will see you all next week.